गोवर्धन की, वृंदावन धाम की, नवदेव मायापुर धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की, तुलसी महारानी की, भक्ति देवी की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, युग धर्म हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की, पुरुषोत्तम मास की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्रील प्रभुपाद की।
हमारे गुरु के चरण कमल ही एकमात्र साधन है जिनके द्वारा हम शुद्ध भक्ति में सेवा प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मैं उनके चरण कमलों में अत्यंत भक्ति में श्रद्धा पूर्वक नतमस्तक होता हूँ। उनकी कृपा से जी भौतिक कलेशों के महान सागर को पार कर सकता है तथा कृष्ण की कृपा प्राप्त कर सकता है। मेरी एकमात्र इच्छा है कि उनके मुकम्मल से निकले हुए शब्दों द्वारा अपनी चेतना को शुद्ध करूं। उनके चरण कमलों में अनुराग ऐसी स्थिति है जो समस्त मनोरथों को पूर्ण करती है। वे मेरी बंद आंखों को खोलते हैं तथा मेरे हृदय में तुम्हें ज्ञान करते हैं। जन्म जन्मांतर वे मेरे प्रभु हैं। वे प्रेमा भक्ति प्रदान करते हैं और अविद्या का नाश करते हैं। वैदिक शास्त्र उनके चरित्र का गान करते हैं। हे श्रील प्रभुपाद करुणा सिंधु तथा पतितात्माओं के मित्र, आप सबके गुरु एवं सभी लोगों के जीवन हम। हे श्रील प्रभुपाद मुझ पर दया कीजिए तथा मुझे अपने श्री चरणों की छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपका यश तीनों लोकों में फैला हुआ है। कृष्ण कृपा मूर्ति अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीर बनचारी, यमुना तीर बनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीर बनचारी, यमुना तीर बनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्मारक सरस्वती गोस्वामी भगवान की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवदीप धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जाए, जमुना माई की जाए, न्यू द्वारका धाम की जाए, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जाए, और ग्लोरी टू द स्वामी, और ग्लोरी टू द स्वामी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know what the nature of that yoga system is, how many ways there are by which one can understand the truth. In truth, that's sublime yoga.
जो योगा भगवत बाण निद्वान आत्मनं स्तयोदिता कीदृशा कतिचंगानि जतस्तत्तावो बोधनम् tattva. Tattva means truth. So, the idea is how to understand the Supreme Person, Supreme Being in tattva, in truth. Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschit jatati siddhaye jatataamapi siddhanam kaschit vetti maam tattva. This tattva word has been used in the Bhagavad Gita, that everyone has got some idea of God. Not everyone, but out of many, millions of persons. Manusyanam sahasreshu, not ordinary man. There are millions and millions of persons, don't care, just like animals. They don't care to know what is God, what is our relationship with God, how to act in that relationship. The Vedic instruction, the whole Vedic instruction is for this purpose. Vedashcha sarvai ahameva vedam. That is the purpose of Veda. So first of all, we have to know what is our relationship with God. That we do not know. Neither we try for it. Therefore Krishna says, not we say, that out of many thousands and millions of persons, Manusyanam sahasreshu. So, Kaschit, somebody becomes interested what is the purpose of life. That is actually awakening of human life. Otherwise, like cats and dogs eating, sleeping, having sex intercourse, and after some time finished. That is the life of cats and dogs. That is not human life. Human life, as it is stated in the Vedas, athata brahma jigyasa. This life is meant for inquiring about the Supreme Being, Brahma, Parabrahma. That is human life. The whole Vedic civilization is based on this basic principle, that to understand the absolute truth. So in this Kali Yuga, nobody is interested in it. We are spreading Krishna consciousness. Very few people are interested to know about Krishna or the Supreme Being. So that is not human life. Human life means when we inquire about the absolute truth. That is human life. So there are so many societies, so many religious institutions, but nobody is interested to know Krishna or the Supreme Being. Krishna means the Supreme Being, all attract. No educational system, no university. Therefore Krishna said, Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jadati siddha. That is siddhi of love. Siddhi means perfection of life, to understand God. Because in the human life, if one tries, he can understand God, he can understand himself, he can understand what is his relationship with God, he can understand how to act in that relationship and thus make his life perfect. That is human life. So, Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jadati siddha. Siddhi. Siddhi means self-realization. And jatatamapi siddhana. And even though one is siddha, self-realized, he also does not understand what Krishna. Even one is siddha. That siddha has still to be progressed. Then he will come to Jnanavan. Jnanavan means one is siddha. One has understood himself. That siddhi means to understand oneself that I am not this body. That is siddhi. Everyone is misguided. Everyone is acting in this world under the bodily concept of life, and they are very, very much unhappy on account of this. Because as soon as one understands that I am not this body, he immediately becomes Brahma realized, Brahma Bhuta, and immediately becomes happy. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Prasannatma means, what do you mean by Prasannatma? Na sochati, na kankati, no more material desire. That is Brahma. Everyone is trying for material sense gratification. The animals, the bees, the birds, and the human being, that is material world. He is simply sochati and kankati. When there is loss, he crying, and when there is no possession, he is hankering. These are the two diseases of material existence. So, when one is Brahma Bhuta, he realizes that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi. Then the next stage is na sochati, na kankati. That is the. But that is not all. That is not all. That is not steady. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na samas sarveshu bhuteshu. At that time, because he is not in the bodily platform of life, he does not see the body, but he sees the soul. So as spirit soul, we are one. Simply, we are differently dressed in different bodies on account of our desire and karma. So one who has realized that I am not this body, he does not make any difference of body. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmani gavihastini suniche cha sapate cha pandita samadarshi. He does not make any difference that here is a learned Brahmin and here is a dog. Because he knows the learned Brahmin has got a different body and the dog has got a different body. Ultimately, the dog is also a spirit soul and the Brahmin is also spirit soul. That is his vision. It does not mean that he is so full, he makes a Brahmin equal to the dog. No, that is not. But he knows the fact, what is the dog and what is the Brahmin. That is Brahma realization. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. Then mad bhakti lavate param. Then the real bhakti begins. That means after self-realization, when he understands that he is not this body. In the bodily concept sort of life, I am thinking I belong to this family, I belong to this society, I belong to the country, and so many. aham mameti, janasya mohoyam, this illusion is going on. And Brahma Bhuta means one who is above this illusion. He has no more such distinction that I am this body, I belong to this family, I belong to this country or community. No. I belong to Krishna. Krishna says, Jeev, Mamaivansa. Krishna says, and Brahma Bhuta stage means I realize that I am part and parcel of Krishna and my only business is to serve Krishna. That is Brahma Bhuta. Therefore Krishna said, Jatatam api siddhana kaschit vettimam tattva. Tattva means one has to understand in truth what is Krishna and what is my relationship with Krishna. Simply siddha is not perfection. Siddha means I am not this body. That is all right. That is perfection. But you have to make further progress. Brahma Bhuta, you have become now self-realized. That's all right. Nasutati naga, sama services. But you have to enter into the parabhakti. Then your self-realization will stand. Otherwise, again you will fall down. Arujya krichena parang padang tata patanti adha. Anadita jusmatang. I am giving this example. That you have got a very nice Sputnik airplane. You can go many thousands and millions miles up. But if you don't get any shelter, either in the moon planet or any other planet, then you come back again. The same example. Similarly, you may become Brahma Bhuta, Brahma realized, but if you simply remain in the impersonal or void, Brahma Bhuta means to make this material world null and void, and you come to the another world, spiritual world. So if you cannot enter into the spiritual world, mad bhakti lavati para, if you simply remain Brahma Bhuta, then you will fall down. Because you are by nature seeking ananda, blissful life. So if you do not get varieties of life, just like we want varieties in this material world, this material world is simply imitation of the spiritual world. So we are attached to the varieties. Therefore we are seeking ananda. But because it is material and we are spiritual beings, we cannot enjoy this ananda, material varieties fully. There are so many defects in every it is, and we are seeking that spiritual variety. So if you don't enter into the spiritual world with spiritual variety, then you will again fall down. That is called Bhakti Yoga. Just like Krishna says, Jadgatyana nivartante tad dhamam paramam. When you get spiritual varieties, that you can get when you enter into the spiritual world, either in the Vaikuntha world planet or in the Goloka Vrindavan planet. There are varieties. The varieties are mentioned in the Shastra. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vrikha lakha britesu surabhi ravipalayantam lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama sevamadam govindam adipurusam tamaham gajan venam kandantang aravinda dalayata. Don't think that Krishna figure is the imagination of some artist or painter. None. These are the descriptions in the Vedas. Venam Kannantang, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, is playing on his flute. Venam Kannantang, Aravinda Dalayataksang, and his eyes are like the petals of lotus flower. Venam Kannantang, Aravinda Dalayataksang, Barahavatangsang. There is a feather, a peacock. Mushitam Sandrangam, His complexion is like black cloud, but very, very beautiful. Venam kannantang aravinda dalayataksam barahavatang samasitam buddhasundara. Kandarpa koti kamani is so beautiful that more attractive than many, many hundreds and thousands of cupids. Kandarpa koti kamaniya visesha sobham govindamadi purusam tamam. This is the Govinda's description. There are so many descriptions. So, this is spiritual variety. Material varieties cannot give us full satisfaction. That we want change. Change. Another change. Another change. Punah punah charvita charvanana. Here in the material world, we are simply chewing the chewed. Once chewed and thrown it away, again somebody is coming, change. So spiritual variety is not like that. Spiritual variety is anandambudhi vardhanam. The more you are attached to spiritual variety, it is just like ocean. And ocean does not increase. But spiritual varieties, say they are increasing. Not just like here, you have got the Arabian Sea. It is not increasing. It would have increased, then Bombay town would have been finished long ago. No, it is not increasing. It has got a certain limit. You go to the beach, you see, certain, no more there. But it is compared with Anandambudhi, the ocean of bliss, increasing Bardhanam. Anandambudhi Bardhanam. The more you enter into the spiritual bliss, the more you become joy. That is spiritual. Spiritual, just like these boys, these girls, they are chanting Hare Krishna. Had it been hackneying, how long they would have chanted? No, that is not possible. Unless it is spiritual, nobody can be satisfied simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You take any other word, Mr. John, Mr. John, Mr. John, how long you take? After chanting for half an hour, you will be fed up. But this is Anandambudhi Vardhanam. The more you chant, the more you become spiritually advanced. This is called Anandambudhi Vardhanam. Otherwise, how one can be satisfied simply by chanting Hare Krishna? They are not mad, they are not foolish, they are human beings. And how they have given up everything simply by chanting. If it is not Anandambudhi Vardhanam, if it is not increasing in a spiritual blissfulness, practical. They have forgotten everything. They are also young men. They don't go to cinema. Just one block after there is cinema, they will never go with giving up this chanting and go to the cinema. Don't you see practically? So spiritual life, that is spiritual life. That if you take to spiritual life and take to the process, then your Anandambudhi Vardhanam, your spiritual life will be blissful more and more. It is not decreased. Because we want Ananda, Anandamaya Vyasat, that is the Vedanta Sutta. Living being or for Brahma or Brahma, everyone is Ananda. That Ananda can you get perfectly when you take Ananda with Krishna, in association with Krishna. You associate with Krishna as servant or as friend or as father, as mother, as conjugal lover. There are 5 rasas: Shanta, Dasa, Sakha, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Here also, in this material world, we have got the same rasas. We are related with somebody as father, as somebody as son, somebody as lover, somebody as beloved, somebody as master, somebody as servant. This is relation. This is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Therefore, although we have got the same relationship for religion, today I am loving my son, and tomorrow my son may be the greatest enemy. There is no eternity of such love. Or the son may die. There is no eternity. Today I am loving some man or woman. It may break tomorrow. That is the defect of the material world. But in the spiritual world, the same relationship will never break. It will anandam vibhadhanam, simply increase. Simply increase. That is called perfection. That is called perfection. The manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jatati siddhai. Jatatam visiddhanam kaschid vettiman tattva. If we understand Krishna tattva, not superficial, here the word is used, jatas tattva-bodhanam. Tattva-bodhanam. Kindly explain to me that bhakti yoga by which we can fully understand the truth, absolute truth. Tattva-bodhanam. So how that tattva can be understood? That is explained by Krishna. That janma karmam cha dibbam me jo janati tattva. So we have to understand Krishna tattva by truth. And how we can understand that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, bhaktyamam vijanati javan jaschami tattva. This is tattva word. So tattva-bodham. The devotee is asking Kapil there, kindly describe that process of yoga by which we can understand in truth tattva-bodham, not superficial. Tattva-bodham. And in another place, the tattva is described in three ways. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattam. Jajjnanamadhyam. They are not different. That is, everything is tattva. There are three kinds of tattva. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti sabdas. The very thing, tattva, is described in three features. Impersonal Brahma, localized Paramatma, and at the end, Bhagavan. So, understanding of Bhagavan means understanding of Brahma and Paramatma. But understanding of Brahma or Paramatma is not understanding of Bhagavan. Therefore, the Brahmavadis, the Paramatmavadis, they are impersonalists. They cannot understand the Supreme Being, personality of Godhead, Krishna. They cannot understand. That is the defect. Therefore, some yoga system, Jnana yoga system, or Dhyana yoga system, and there is Bhakti yoga system. That Bhakti yoga system is the perfect. And Jnana yoga system or Dhyana yoga system, that is partial understanding. Paramatma system. Ishara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. In that way, you can understand, you can come to the platform and understanding samas sarveshu bhuteshu. But that is not perfect. Still you have to go. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti lavati param. After realizing samas sarveshu bhuteshu, this principle, then you have to enter into the devotional, parabhakti. Parabhakti means transcendental. Bhakti means para. Bhakti does not mean material. The material, it looks like material activity, but it is not material activity. Just like the example can be given. There's a man, a boy is flying kite, and he that is called the reel, latai. So sometimes he brings down the kite and sometimes he allows the kite to go. There are two kinds of plane. Similarly, the one kind of activity means you are becoming free from the resultant action of activity. And one kind of activity is you are becoming entangled. So that is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Jagyate karma annatra karma bandhana. If you work for Jagga, for Krishna, then you are becoming relieved from the resultant action of karma. But if you work for your sense gratification, then you are becoming entangled with the resultant action of your karma. Therefore, sometimes this bhakti yoga is misunderstood as karma. Mayavadi, they cannot understand. They think that bhakti yoga is also karma. These people are less intelligent. So, they are in the, because jnana yoga means bikarma or akarma. Akarma. There is no resultant action. That is the view of the Jnani, Mayavadi philosopher. But because they see that the bhaktas, they are working also, just like ordinary man, therefore it is Maya. That is Mayavad. They think bhakti activities as Maya. Therefore we call them Mayavad. But actually bhakti yoga, if you act according to the shastric principles, if you act according to the order of your spiritual master in bhakti yoga, that is not karma. That is bhakti yoga, beyond this karma yoga. But they cannot understand. Just like Krishna described in the Shastras, Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vrikha lakha britesu surabhi ravipalayantam. Surabhi ravipalayantam, Krishna is very much fond of tending cows, surabhi cows. The Mayavadi will see, what is this Krishna? I mean, Brahma was builder. How is that? This Krishna, this boy in Vrindavan is being worshipped. Is spoken like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is that? He is taking care of the cows, this cowherd boy. Indra was also builder. Mujjanti, Jasura. To understand Krishna, even Brahma, Indra, they become builder. Therefore, Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jatati siddhaya jatataamapi siddhanam kaschid vettimam tattva. We have to understand Krishna in truth, otherwise we will be builder. And for that reason, you have to hear from Krishna or his representative to understand Krishna. Otherwise, you will also be builder. So, if we can understand Krishna, that these activities of Krishna, Dibbam, Janma Karma Chame, Dibbam, divine, they are not ordinary activities. If we can understand it, immediately we become liberated. Simply, if we can understand the activities of this Krishna's dancing with the gopis, they are Dibbam. They are not ordinary. Just like here also a young man wants to dance with many young girls. It is not like that. And because people cannot understand Krishna, and if they hear about the dancing of Krishna with the gopis, they take it a concession. Now let us dance with young girls. And they are going to hell. Therefore, you have to learn from the proper person about Krishna's activities. If you learn Krishna from the professional, uneducated person, non-devotee, then you will go to hell. Therefore, immediately we should not try to understand Krishna's dealing with the gopis. It is very confidential. It is kept in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That means you have to understand Krishna as he is by reading first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then we will be able to understand Janma Karma Cha Divyam. The Krishna's activities, they are not ordinary things, they are divine. And if we actually understand, then immediately we become liberated. Janma Karma Cha Divyam Jijanati Tattva. Therefore, here it says, Kidisang Katichangani. How that Bhakti Yoga is situated and how many processes or branches are there. Kidisa Katicha Angani Jatas Tattavabodhanam. Then we can understand Krishna in tattva, in truth. That is required. That is Bhakti Yoga, and that Angani means they are all the same. Savanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasivanam. There are 9 angas. 9 anga means different varieties. They are the same. Spiritually, they are the same. Spiritually, absolute. Savanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasivanam. Either you hear, or you chant, or you memorize, or you offer worship, archanam, or you offer prayers, archanam, bandhanam, dasam, or you simply work under the direction of your spiritual master, Krishna, just like Hanuman, he dasam. He simply carried out Lord Ramchandra's order. He was supposed to be animal. He's not animal, but he was looking like a monkey animal, but having no education. No, he had everything, but superficially he is not teaching Vedanta. He's simply carrying order of Lord Ramchandra. That's all. He appears to be very foolish, not foolish, but superficially animal. No, he was simply carrying dasa. Arjuna, simply he took Krishna as his most intimate friend. That's all. He was not a Vedantist. He was a fighter. He was a Kshatriya. He had to deal with politics. No time to become Vedantist. But he is the greatest devotee. Bhaktosi, Priyosi me. Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, you are my very dear friend and devotee. People may say, he is not a Vedantist, he is not a Brahmin, he is not a sannyasi. How Krishna accepts him as Bhaktosi? That is called Bhakti. Bhakti is ahoituki apratihata. If you become a devotee, there is no impediment, no material condition can check your progress of Bhakti. If you are a Bhakti. Sabai vamsang paro dharma. Jato bhakti radhokar. Ahoituki apratihata. Jeno atma samprasidati. If you want real life, prasanna, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, if you take to bhakti, automatically you become Prasannatma. Jeno atma samprasidati. What is that? Ahoituki apratihata bhakti. Without any motive. I shall serve Krishna with a motive. That is also good in this sense that he is pious. He has approached Krishna. He is not impious like the atheist, like the non-believer. But he is good, although he has approached, just like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj worshipped Krishna with a motive. But after being perfect in devotional service, he becomes without motive. When he saw actually Krishna, he said, no, I don't want anything from you. Swami kita thosmi, barang na jati. I don't want anybody. That is bhakti. Ahoituki apratihata. Not that we shall worship Krishna to serve some material purpose. That is also good, because he has come to Krishna. Somewhere or other he has come. Chaturvida bhajante mam sukritina arjuna. That is his piety. Anyone who comes to Krishna somewhere or other, he is very fortunate. He is not ordinary man. Ei rupe brahmanda bhramite kono bhagyavanji. Bhagyavanji means very fortunate person. He comes to Krishna consciousness, not ordinary person. Jisam tu antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dandamaho nirmukta bhajanti mang dirubha. Krishna bhajan is not so easy. But if you voluntarily, if after hearing so many qualities of Krishna, transcendental qualities, if you somehow or other become attracted to Krishna consciousness, then your life is successful. Jena tena prakarena, manak Krishna prayoja. Somehow or other, you attach your mind to Krishna consciousness. Sarve vidhi niseda sureta eva kinkara. Then Krishna will help you. Krishna will help you. Krishna will give you intelligence from within. Tesam satadriptanang bhajatang priti purva. Krishna says that anyone who is engaged in my devotional service with love and faith, buddhi yogam dadamitam. This is buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga means bhakti yoga. Buddhi yoga means Bhakti yoga is not for the foolish person. Bhakti yoga means buddhi yoga, one who is highly intelligent. Or somehow or other he has become intelligent. That I shall take to Krishna consciousness. Then his life is perfect. Immediately and gradually he will realize Krishna tat. Bhaktyamamati janati, java understanding tat. You somehow or other take to Krishna consciousness, engage yourself in devotional service under the direction of Shastra and spiritual master. Then you understand Krishna and then your life is perfect. Thank you very much.
We have Prabhupada walking with the devotees, and the gentleman to the right of Srila Prabhupada is Vasudev. At this time he was Deoji Punja. And he was the prime mover of Krishna consciousness. In Fiji in those early days, Srila Prabhupada was very affectionate towards Vasudev and his whole family, because here was an Indian gentleman outside of ISKCON, because ISKCON hadn't been officially established there in the country yet, and he was taking it upon his shoulders to propagate Krishna consciousness, and he had a distinct love for Srila Prabhupada, as you see from his body language.
I had some business in Australia, Sydney, rice business. From my office, I saw some people, devotees, shaved head with saris, kurta. They're distributing the prasad, chanting Hare Krishna on the street. And I thought in my mind, who have changed these people? So I asked some devotees there, who is your guru and how you came to Hare Krishna movement? They said, our guru is Prabhupada, and he is coming after 1 month. Then after that, I asked the rice growers people in the office, these people are chanting Hare Krishna, and who are they? They're taking drug and just chanting Hare Krishna. So I decided, let me go to stay in the temple. So I stayed 2 nights there. I saw early morning they wake up 3 o'clock, cold shower they take, and the arti and singing Hare Krishna mantra. Who have changed these people? So I decided to meet Prabhupada. Suddenly I had some business in Fiji, so I came back. Prabhupada came to Melbourne. Then Rani met Prabhupada in temple and asked Prabhupada when Prabhupada is going to Hawaii. Nandani asked, can you tell me also the flight number? So Prabhupada told devotees, tell them the flight number. So Nandani got the flight number and Nandani rang to us in Fiji. So Prabhupada's flight is staying half an hour. Nearly 2,000 people came up to greet Prabhupada. We had advertised in papers and radio. So when the flight came there, jumbo jet, when I saw Prabhupada, I suddenly done what obeisances. And first question Prabhupada asked me, is there any Radha Krishna temple here? So I said, no, Prabhupada, there is no Radha Krishna temple. There are so many small temples here, but not Radha Krishna temple. So you build nice in Hindi, Badhiya sa mandir banao, he told me. I said, I'll try my best to build that temple. After 20-minute discussion, I paid obeisances to Prabhupada. And when I stand up, Prabhupada put his hand on my head. And I feel just like, oh, my sins have gone, I began to cry completely. Prabhupada said, from today, you chant 16 rounds. And from that day, I start chanting. I used to wake up 3 o'clock and I used to chant 16 rounds every day.
There was certain Indian gentlemen who had this awe and respect for Srila Prabhupada, devotees such as Kartikeya Mahadevya and Mr. Shetty in Bombay. They act like old devotees from previous lifetime, old Vaishnavas that were reigniting their relationship with Srila Prabhupada in this lifetime. The unique position of Deoji, or Vasudeva, as he was initiated, was that he was the CEO of a very large and important many companies in Fiji. He was way up there in the elite of Indian businessmen. So he owned a chain of grocery stores. That was one of the retail businesses they had. And when the devotees were taken through the grocery stores, and we came to the butcher shop, and we were aghast, like, how is this possible? And when it was asked of Srila Prabhupada, well, what should we advise Vasudeva to do? Should we tell him that he should close down the butcher shop? And Srila Prabhupada said, no, he doesn't have to close the butcher shop at this time. See, this will come. We were just black and white, cut and dry devotees. We had no nuances in our approach towards Krishna consciousness because we were immature, spiritually immature, even at this so-called late date in our spiritual life, 1975. Prabhupada could understand that Vasudeva was in business. The business was well established in the islands for many, many years. And Vasudeva had his brothers and uncles and aunts, and his family was well immersed in this business. And for Prabhupada to say, no, you have to close down the butcher shop, that would be a point of controversy amongst the family members. Only Vasudeva at that time had fully embraced Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada could understand that if Vasudeva became strong, if there weren't any preconditions put on his relationship with Srila Prabhupada having to do with his business, then eventually he would win over all his other family members. And as it turned out, most of Vasudeva's family members did embrace Vaishnavism. And some of them actually took initiation.
Vasudeva invited him that next time when you pass from Nandi to Hawaii, next year you come and stay in Fiji.
Stay in Fiji. Prabhupada said, I'll write to you when I can come. So Prabhupada wrote a letter to me. I'm coming 1975. He rang from Hawaii. Have you got the land? I said, no. Then I decided I got a land, so I'll donate this land to ISKCON. Build a nice temple. We gave a contract for $330,000. I didn't have any idea of how to build a temple. When I sent the copy of a plan to Prabhupada in Mayapur, Prabhupada says, why you build a dome in front? The architect said front people can see from the road. Now dome should be where the deities are. So we have to make so much alteration about that.
And he said the roof should be concrete. For collection, they used to go early in the morning, 6 o'clock, with a BTG in his hand and Prabhupada's photo there.
Soon as they see Prabhupada's photo, someone gives $1,000, some $500, some $2,000. Within 2 months, I collected $40,000.
And then we got some loan from bank.
Yeah.
When Prabhupada first came, in the morning he was going for morning walk to Marine Drive in Lotoka. And after coming from morning walk, we had Guru Puj. His first program in Natambua Hall, Lotoka.
Yeah.
And the whole hall was full with people.
Upstairs, downstairs, 2,000 people was there.
Prabhupada gave lecture for 20 minutes in English. So Vasudev requested, many Indians are here who don't understand English, so can you speak in Hindi? So Prabhupada gave same lecture in Hindi. And then he gave one program in Nandi, Ramakrishna Mission, and one at Bagh. It was in theatre.
I used to go every day to see Prabhupada at about 4 o'clock. When I finished my business, then I used to sit down with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada used to tell me about Bhagavatam. We used to talk to each other.
Once he didn't come, so after lunch and rest, he ran to call Vasudev. Then we were sitting in the veranda. And one devotee was there, Sajjanashri. He asked Prabhupada that local people say that Kalia is here in Fiji. And Prabhupada asked, are there any wild creatures here, like wild lions and serpents? And he said no. Then he said, then Kalia must be, maybe here. And after that, he changed to make Krishna Kalia temple.
Some of the Hindus had said that this is Kalia, who has come to Fiji when he was banished from the waters of the Jamuna, and that this big snake was living up in a big lake up on the top of a mountain where nobody went. And in Fiji, there's no snakes. So they told Prabhupada that. And Prabhupada said, yes. He said, then it is possible, because where there's the big snake, there's no small snakes. Because the big snake will eat the small snakes. So one devotee, he took up the challenge to go to this lake. According to the superstition, if you went to this lake, you wouldn't come back or you would become insane. But not many people know how to get there. So he had to get a guide. And so we paid this guide the money. And he was a little bit reluctant, but finally he agreed. So they started to hike up there, and a big storm came up. Big typhoon. Winds were blowing, trees were knocked over. So the guide became spooked. And he said, no, this is the sign we're not supposed to go. So he abandoned him. So the devotee thought, well, I'm going to do it. So he didn't know how to get there, but he still tried to persevere. But the storm became too violent, and he couldn't do it. So because of that folktale, Vasudeva established the Krishna Kaliya temple. And it's a unique deity of Krishna dancing on the head of the Kaliya serpent.
Then the next trip, Prabhupada came in 1976.
Yeah, to lay foundation.
To lay foundation. And at that time we got initiation.
I told Prabhupada, my brother, Mohan, will take initiative. Yes, you're free. So next day Prabhupada told Prabhupada Das, make it ready, the yagna, and I'll give initiation.
He asked Prabhupada, I want to take initiation from you. Prabhupada said, okay, save your hand.
So myself and both same hand, and we got ready to take initiation.
After initiation, the next morning, Prabhupada called us in his room and gave second initiation next day to both of us.
But before, Prabhupada said, I'm drinking tea, Prabhupada. From today you leave tea, tomorrow don't take tea. And Prabhupada said, I'm chanting other mantra also, Prabhupada. He said, this Hare Krishna mantra will conquer that. Prabhupada gave him initiation.
And he presented first mala to Vasudeva Prabhu, then to me, and then to Bhuvan Mohan.
Upendra went to Fiji first, about a month before I arrived. And I believe it was September 1970. We were in Suva. People used to call us Mr. and Mrs. Swamiji, which we thought was very funny at that time, because we wore our yellow dhoti and sari. When we were in Fiji, an Indian family had given us a small Lord Nrsimhadev deity. I still have him. He was always our deity who presided over our center and our preaching there in Fiji. He was the first Nrsimhadev deity that appeared in our movement, so that was very significant. He was given to us soon after we had arrived there. On Sundays, we had a feast, and our place would be packed with Fijian people and Indian people. So they took very enthusiastically to the feast. Upendra always wrote to Prabhupada about the difficulties that we were running into and the criticisms, and one of the sadhus next door wanted to chant Hare Rama first instead of Hare Krishna first, and Prabhupada just wrote back and said, well, if he insists on chanting Hare Rama first, what is the harm? He's still chanting. And part of it was a criticism about the color yellow for our dhotis and saris. And Prabhupada answered back that usually white dhoti and colorful saris are what's worn in India, but when someone's engaged in preaching activities or devotional activities, they may wear yellow, and your life is always involved in preaching activities. So you may put on a white dhoti if you like, if you want, that is fine. He was always instructing us every step of the way. Upendra would write him letters 2 or 3 times a month. So he was our guiding force all the way through. We really took to heart and felt like we had been given a responsibility to follow Lord Chaitanya's prediction that in every town and village there would be chanting of the holy name. So we literally went to every little village that we could, and often we're hosted in a very humble place, ancient temples of Narayan or Kali or whatever, but we would hold a program and all the villagers would come. There would be simple prasadam. Then we'd go on to another village and make our rounds. We went to Lotoka. We had met Vasudev's father, who was a very elderly man at that point, and his 5 sons, of whom Vasudev was one of them. His father was a very devotional man and was always wanting to help in any way he could. And then we heard later how Vasudev had come around to want to know more about Krishna consciousness and follow Prabhupada. And it was very exciting for us to see that from our humble beginnings, that Vasudev was going to take up the mission and carry on Krishna consciousness there under Prabhupada's supervision.
When we arrived in Fiji, I remember it was practically 1 o'clock in the morning after our flights from Australia, and it was Ekadasi. Of course, there was no temple then. We were staying at one Indian family's house, and they had prepared prasadam for all of us. And of course, it wasn't Ekadasi prasadam, but Prabhupada just said, it's okay. And that was it. So we took prasadam. So then we went to bed around 2:30 or 3 o'clock. So then as Prabhupada did everywhere, when the sun was ready to come up, Prabhupada was ready for his morning walk. And that was always the case. It didn't matter how much Prabhupada was traveling, if he stayed in a place for 2 days or 2 weeks. As soon as Prabhupada got to the next place, he set his watch and he set his body and he just continued on. There was never any question, jet lag. The word didn't exist with Prabhupada. It wasn't something anyone talked about. Prabhupada never exhibited it. We went out on the morning walk and he would walk as quickly as he did everywhere for about an hour to an hour and a half. Then we had a program. Prabhupada always had a morning program, and he spoke. And then we had prasadam. And then Paramahamsa and I, we were just waiting for the opportunity to sleep again, because we had only had like 3 hours of sleep. And for us, that was just really difficult. And we were hoping after breakfast, Prabhupada would take a nap. So I brought Prabhupada his breakfast, and then when he was finished, I came and took everything out, and Prabhupada laid down. So, I went back, I said, Prabhupada's resting. So Paramahamsa and I, we laid down. Of course, we fell asleep. We were out. And Prabhupada maybe took 15 minutes or something, and he was up. So finally I heard a bell ring. So I went into Prabhupada's room, and it happened a few times where I would literally try to wake up as I was offering obeisances and like exercise my eyes. So Prabhupada couldn't tell that I was sleeping. And I sat up, and as soon as I sat up, he said, "Why are you sleeping? Like dead men. Everyone's awake. The karmis are all working, but not the devotees. No, they're sleeping." He said, "They're sleeping very soundly. Why are you sleeping?" And of course, when Prabhupada asked, "Why were you doing something wrong?" I never had a response, because whatever you said, he would just take that apart. So I just said, "Prabhupada, I'm sorry." And what about Paramahamsa? Why is he sleeping? He said, "Call him in here." And he goes in, and immediately Prabhupada says, "You're a sannyasi. Your business is to minimize bodily demands, minimize sleeping, minimize eating." He said, "Why are you sleeping?" And Paramahamsa said, "Well, Prabhupada, I have jet lag." And I thought, oh no. And Prabhupada said, "Jet lag?" He said, "Well, we just flew from here and done this." And Prabhupada said, "So?" He said, "I'm also flying. I'm doing the same thing. I'm awake." And then he said, "All right, go on. Go sleep if you want." So go back to the room. And of course, we wouldn't sleep. And sometimes 5 minutes would go by, or sometimes a half hour, and he'd ring the bell again. And you'd go in, and then he'd tell you to start reading, and he'd tell you some stories or something, and you would just know that he wasn't angry with you. He was always trying to save us from our own bad habits, and trying to show us that becoming Krishna conscious is serious business, and one has to follow the process. Otherwise, gradually one can fall away. But that was one of the things he would do after chastising. He would always have a way of being extra special nice a little later on, and then we knew that he loved us so much.